Hi everyone, it's Stephen from Valued again, working from home, which is very, very apt today, because I'm delighted to be joined by several of the fantastic, magnificent Valued team. I've got to be really nice to them because they are all live with us right now, and we're going to share what it's like to be working from home from a Valued point of view. Now, the format of today's session is pretty much an open question and answer session. Yeah, we wrote a blog all about working from home, which we published on Tuesday. That went out over some of the social media platforms yesterday as well. You may have seen it. And we're just basically going to work through that blog and get some real life experiences. I guess the human side of Valued. We're going to be open, we're going to be honest, and we're actually going to share our experiences, good, bad, and ugly, of working from home. So do me a favour, everyone. It's a bit lonely sometimes. You just stare at the screen. Just give us a hi. Let us know that the sound levels are working well, that everything's okay. It's always great to hear that people
all
are
good
on
from
there.
us.
Brilliant, spot on. And what I'm delighted to do, as I say, is we've been joined by some of the Valued team today. So it's not just myself and DJ Daz on the mic and on the deck sorting all the technology out. Darren's actually in a very, very small screen today. I can just make out what he's got. So Daz is going to be getting involved. But also, if you guys have got any questions, please just put the questions on the post, and we'll be as open and honest as we can. But also share your experiences of what it's like to work from home. As you know, we've been live now for, it seems like a year. I think it's probably about a couple of months. I've been coming to you live from my living room at home. As I said on the last one that I've actually had more people in my house through these live sessions than I've ever had. But it is a bit weird working from home. It does take some getting used to. But as I say, I'm delighted that we've got some of the Valued team joining us today as well. So let me introduce them. We've got Jonny, we've got Michael, we've got Sharon, and we've got Danille, who's joined us. Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Hi.
So please bear with them. It's the first time we've ever done a live, and they have all volunteered. But,
a few nerves and stage fright from a couple of staff members, but that's to be expected. But yeah, thanks very much.
I don't think volunteered was quite the word though, Stephen, somehow.
No.
Well, to be fair, I think you're pretty much volunteered apart from poor Michael, who was actually up on paternity leave.
I think press gang was the word I would use, wouldn't it?
Yes, that would be more like it.
Sounds about right. So do you want to just take a second just to introduce yourselves and tell the viewers who you are, what you do within Valued?
So can we? We've got this in the camera order. So can I go with Mike first, please, if that would be all right?
Yeah. So I'm fairly new to Valued. I've only been here 6 weeks, 2 weeks of which was paternity. Yeah, I'm sort of a client manager at Valued, so ultimately look after accounts, day-to-day running for quite a few of you. So
that's Mike. And Jonny.
I'm Jonny. I came over pretty much the same time as Michael, start of April. I'm also a client manager. I also look after some payrolls for former accountancy club called Oxley Pratt. Yeah, it's me.
Awesome. Danille.
Hi, I've been with Valued for about a year or so. I'm the guy that's in charge of all the payrolls, along with Jonny and Nicola. We're the ones been doing all the furlough claims for you guys. Thanks for that. Yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much my job.
Awesome. Sharon?
Hi, I'm Sharon. I'm an accounts manager, also a team leader. I deal with mostly Stephen's clients within the company, but also help out with other people's clients as well. Here to help anybody whenever they need it.
Awesome. Thanks very much for doing that, guys.
It's always great, not just have Darren and I on these now, so thank you very much. I do really appreciate it. I think, I don't know, let's start with an easiest question, I guess, yeah? So in the blog, we talked about having a clear zone within your house, working from home. I guess the question would be for Michael, let's start with your good self. What's it like working from home? Have you got a clear zone? What have you done? Obviously, you joined Valued very recently. So I think it's actually quite an interesting story because you've never actually been in the office yet.
No. So yeah, 90%. Well, apart from Darren and Stephen, I've never actually met anyone physically. Everything's been done virtually, which has been different, but also it's quite good at how you can see how people can adapt. So I didn't have a clear zone at all. I was working off the dining room table, which was a very open plan in the house, which wasn't great. It's got certain constraints, like telling the wife that she can't come into the kitchen when you're on a video call with a client and things like that is not great. So I then, as we've said, I had a baby due. So working downstairs just wasn't going to be possible, especially with the lockdown being extended. So we had to convert the little bedroom upstairs into an office, which is where I'm at now. That has worked a lot better. It kind of gives me the ability to shut the door on a night and leave things in that room rather than passing it sort of, every time you go somewhere in the house and think, oh, I'll just do that while I'm here. So yeah, that certainly helped. But I think Valued also helped because the tools that we have virtually really do help. So it's kind of, we've got the office on a laptop, or as far as I know, because like I say, I haven't been there. But we can literally fully function from from home like we would at work. So that's made it a lot easier, I think.
Fantastic, thank you, Michael, and congratulations on the birth of your baby boy. I just before we went live, you actually uttered the words, "I've got Carolyn downstairs, banished her downstairs with the baby." Yeah. So yeah, good luck with that one, mate. Good luck with that one. What about yourself, Danille? What's it like working from home? Do you have a clear zone? I can see you're in your office there.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky because I'm quite crafty, so I've actually got my own workspace set up anyway, so it hasn't been a massive change for me, to be honest. I think the biggest change for me is trying to cut myself off a little bit more than I normally do. I think that's been the biggest challenge. So apart from bringing extra files home and stuff, I'm quite fortunate that I have my own little space, so it's great that I can shut the door and do it. But yeah, it's easy enough to check one email and then just carry on working every now and again. So I think you've kind of got to get in the habit of making sure you do switch it off and just close the screen. Doesn't work. No, I kind of miss the social side of the office quite a bit because I am quite a social person, but working from home I actually quite enjoy, especially when you've got your own space and it works quite well. New pinboard, and I get to go wild with my colour scheme in this room, so it's my own little safe haven. Wild office, love it.
That's good to me. Sharon, yourself?
Well, I don't have a spare room in the house actually make into an office. The room I would normally use looks like a building site at the moment because we're on the way of ripping plaster off the wall and replastering and everything, so it's not usable at the moment. So at the moment I'm sitting downstairs in the sitting room, but I'm quite lucky in the fact that my husband is at work, so I have the house to myself most of the day. So having being able to talk to clients quite freely is fine because there's nobody else here but me. I find it a bit of a chore to stop at night because I tend to keep on working because I'm sitting in the sitting room with my computer, so you tend to just keep on working. But I'm trying not to. I'm trying to make myself switch off. But apart from that, I quite enjoy it. A bit like Danille, I do miss everybody at work because you get to talk to people more and interact with people more. So I do miss that. But apart from that, I'm okay at the moment.
Fantastic, thank you. And I know we've had many a call where the budgie in the background there has been chirping away, enjoying the conversations as well. Fantastic.
Yes, that's probably the only distraction is the
budgie. Well, some of us have got kids running around there in the background, and I sometimes think a budgie might be a lot of. What about yourself, Jonny? Obviously, you've just recently joined us from Oxley Pratt.
Well, I started off in a small box room that was originally designed as the office when we first moved into this house. However, I found actually working from home in that office, it wasn't really that well suited. It was a bit impractical in terms of space, so I've moved downstairs, in the dining room, which luckily we don't use this room quite often. So on an evening, I can just switch off and leave the room. But it's nice. It's got a nice bay window, so I've got a lot of light let in. So it's good for my mental state, and I can really sort of crack on with work in a bit more of a positive environment for myself.
Thank you for that. And I think that's an important part. And one of the next bits that we talked about in the blog was actually about setting boundaries. And I think you've all touched on it, and I've touched it, and Darren has in the past as well on the lives, where it is difficult to set boundaries. It is difficult to work. I work when I'm at work, and home life is home life. And it is difficult sometimes to actually say, you know what, my boundaries are. Work is work and home is home. Sharon, you were just alluding to that. You're in the sitting room, you keep on working. I know, Danille, you've been doing that. Jonny, you have as well. And I think you touched on mental health there as well, Jonny, which is really, really important. But what sort of boundaries have you guys set? Should we start with you again, Jonny, if that's all right? What boundaries have you set in terms of your day-to-day life in terms of working from home? And have they changed at all?
I think at the beginning I fell into a bit of a trap of still getting up at the same time I would normally get up, and then just sort of starting work quite early on. So it would be a fairly longer day. So in the terms of a week, in one of my first weeks, I would have probably burnt myself out quite a bit. And I found I wasn't being able to switch off when the office time was closed from 5 onwards. And I would be still in the evening, and also on weekends, I'd still be thinking about work. So I decided to go back onto sticking to my normal routine of getting up, breakfast, going for a run or a walk in the morning before work, and then starting work round about normal time, to really keep myself in that sort of work mind, and then I can balance it out with me life afterwards and all.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you for that, Jonny. But Sharon, what about yourself? What boundaries have you managed to set, or have you not been? How have you been keeping to them?
Sort of keeping to them. I still get up at the same time every morning because my husband gets up for work, so I just get up at the same time. Basically, do the normal things I would normally do, put the washing in and everything before coming to work, and basically setting myself to start work. Normally, it's about 9:15 when I log on to check emails and that, ready for our team meetings at 9 o'clock. On the night time, I find night time's a bit harder to control when I'm switching off, because you might be in the middle of doing something and you think, oh, I'll just finish this, and then it's 3 hours later when you realise what time it is. But I'm trying to actually stop myself from doing it, because it's not fair on my husband that I'm sitting working and not spending time with him. So I am trying to stop myself from doing that.
No, fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
And what about yourself, Danille? What boundaries have you set?
I'm probably the same as Sharon. I'm my world's worst own enemy, because I don't have boundaries when it comes to work. Like, if I've got a heap of stuff on my desk, I know that I need to finish that before I go to bed, because if I wake up on a morning knowing that I've got a load of stuff on my desk, I stress more. So I know that it's been like ridiculous hours when I've been going to bed. My daughter's been neglected quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, because I've just been so focused on getting the furlough claims in for everybody, which has been really stressful. And bless her, she's been an absolute gem. She's literally got on with her schoolwork and left us alone. So I couldn't praise her enough for that. But yeah, boundaries has been a massive thing. I think now we're starting to see a little bit of not a decrease in work as such, but certainly a calmer way that we are a bit more aware of what is going on with the furlough claims and things like that, where we're a bit more prepared for it this month. I can certainly start setting boundaries, because that hasn't happened. Like 12, 14-hour days has been, pretty much the norm for the last couple of weeks. And I know Sharon is just as bad. That we all work really hard, I think, which is the worst thing, because a lot of us don't know boundaries very well, because we're also work conscious, I suppose. But yeah, boundaries is certainly a thing that we need to learn and kind of discover new routines. I think I've certainly set new routines this week, so that's been a massive achievement for me, I suppose.
Fantastic. I think one of the things that you and I talked about as well was that we do have the team meeting. Sharon alluded to it there. We have a team meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning, then we have another one at 4:30 on an afternoon, just a bit of a catch up really. And sometimes it was created just as a social thing, but it was also created so that when the news was coming out about the COVID-19, about the coronavirus, we could actually get that out to the team as quickly as possible, but also the team could make sure that everybody was aware of all of the news now. So it's not just myself or Sharon as team leaders and other managers in the business actually saying this is the latest news. It was actually everybody could get involved. But I know, Danille, you had talked about doing the team meeting, and then I think you were taking time out for yourself for a little bit and changing your daily schedule. I think you were doing some fitness stuff from
Yeah, I mean, for me, I tend to find fitness helps, like a lot of people, my mental state, which I was really getting back into routine just before the lockdown. I'd started doing PTs and stuff, which I was really enjoying. Have an amazing gym. But because of the lockdown and all the long hours we were doing, I kept telling myself that this was just temporary and I would train later on in the day when I was a bit quieter. Tomorrow will be fine, it'll be quieter tomorrow. And over 7 weeks, I've done very little training, which has had a massive knock-on effect on my mental health, which I got wrong off my PT for doing, because she was like, you've got to stop saying it's just temporary, because this temporary is a long temporary, so you need to try and find a way to cope with that. So now it's a bit calmer. I've decided that I do my morning meeting at 9, so I still do that, get up as normal. I then take an hour out to do my fitness so that I start the day a bit clearer headed as well, which is better. And then have my normal work day up till lunchtime, where I can spend time with my daughter, which I hadn't done for the last 7 or 8 weeks, whatever we're on now. I think it's 8 week age. Totally lost track of my time. And then make sure that I try and switch off about probably no later than 6:30, 7 o'clock, where I can spend family time, because that just hasn't happened. I mean, even weekends where I've tried to promise my daughter, I think she's sick of us giving her promises that I just haven't kept 7 weeks, bless her. I've literally had to bribe her with I will buy you a treat at the end of this because I haven't spent so much time with her. So yeah, our shopping bill was great this week. No, in all seriousness, yeah, finding a routine this week has really helped my mental health, which, to be honest, I think we're all guilty of neglecting too much. I think we need to prioritise that as much as anything else, especially in this process. This is all new to all of us. It's all different. We're all trying to cope with it the way we can. So I think routine and mental health is probably the biggest thing that we kind of need to focus on as well.
I think that, to me, that's so valid. And as the founder CEO valued, I've said it on many a live, but I just want to say it again. Thank you so much for all of the hard work, all the commitment, all the effort, the huge difference that every single person, not just you four and Darren as well, but every single person within Valued has made to our clients' lives. The money that's actually going into clients' bank accounts, the hard work, the efforts, it's made a real difference to people's lives. So thank you from me personally, but also I know we do get quite a few clients that do comment as well, saying thank you very much as well.
Just coming in on that, I mean,
anybody that's watching this as well, just post some comments if there's anything that you found difficult in terms of keeping a routine, or what boundaries have you set, what else has worked for other people as well. Now, what we have got is we've got a lot of clients that are on the group that are retailers as well. So it's some of you guys can't actually go to the office. What routines have you found? What is the new normal? It'd be great to hear from people who are watching it as well. I guess the next area that we talked about was, we've talked about on the panel so far, is accepting that life, it's not going to be easy. It is the new norm. We're all social animals. We've all said that we like going to the office just for that bit of a chat, a bit of a catch up. Just talking, I know one of the things that we do at Valued is at 3:30 on a Friday, we now have our last session of the week as a team, and we actually make that a bit of a social thing. So if you want to come along with a beer, feel free to join us for a beer, just to try and bring some of that social side into it. But it's about going easy on yourself, recognizing that actually it is difficult to work from home at times. It is difficult to get some certainty in the uncertain world that we're living in right now. recognizing that actually we are going to have good days, but we're going to have some bad days as well. And I guess, as we say, just making sure that it is, except not, it is going to be difficult. It's not always going to be easy. But I guess the question I would have there, if maybe we can start with you, Michael, if that's all right, is what have you found most difficult about working from home, and how have you overcome this?
Well, I think for me, work is kind of central pin. So it's the most constant thing in life. So, you know, your day-to-day stuff, the stuff that goes on in running your house or, you know, spending time with your family, that all changes. That changes continually, and we just kind of deal with that. But work's work. We go to work at a set time. We do a set job, and, you know, we do the processes that we are aware of. And obviously that has to be slightly flexible and change with circumstance. But on a whole, it is what it is. Now, when COVID-19 hit, my central pin was completely snapped. It was like I was starting a new job in a new role. I didn't know how my training was going to take place. I didn't know how I was going to meet the people or do the systems. You know, you already have anxieties over that, but the whole idea of doing it blind, not being able to physically see anyone or even just shake a hand to welcome someone, that's, you know, the one thing we can't do. It was completely foreign to me. It was completely out of the norm. And to be honest, for a little while, I didn't really know what to think or how to deal with it. I think that was also exaggerated by the fact that I had a baby on the way. You know, that family life was kind of heightened as well. So I wanted them to be safe. I wanted, you know, my wife, Carolyn, to be safe. I was worried if I caught COVID-19, I wouldn't be allowed at the birth. You know, there's all these things that you're trying to deal with and process. And yeah, I think certainly the first few weeks were really difficult. But then I think, like everything, you've got to start and pull as many positives out of it as you can. And in some cases, that's incredibly difficult. But one of the examples I'll use there is on, obviously, Monday, I returned to work from paternity. And that was quite an emotional moment, more so than I thought it was going to be. The idea of leaving Carolyn on her own with the Ben, and you know, she was obviously quite emotional because she was going to be on her own. But coming to work meant literally walking up the stairs and going into the bedroom. So if she really needs me, she can literally shout up the stairs and I can be there within, you know, 3 or 4 seconds. Whereas if I was, you know, I'm about a 35-minute commute from the office. You know, if she really, really needed me, that's not there. So we're actually using this as a sort of phase out, if you like. By the time I'm hoping that we can all get back to the office, you know, we're both really comfortable with that situation. But yeah, most certainly just the rug was sort of pulled from under everyone's feet, wasn't it? And overnight we went from normality to, wow, how are we going to do this? But yeah, I'd say that was my biggest.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. And I guess it is a strange one, yeah, where you mentioned that social interaction there, but even you came to mine to pick some records up. We did it with the socially distance and everything there, but you came after having the baby, and it was the first time I ever met you, and I naturally wanted to shake your hand and congratulations and everything. It's just to go, actually, I can't do any of that. Yeah. And it's a strange world that we live in, I guess. But yeah, thank you. Danille, what about yourself? What have you found most difficult about working from home, and how have you overcome this?
Working from home, probably the social side of it, I think. I mean, I'm very sociable in the sense of I like to talk a lot. And in the office, that's no exception, because Lindsay's normally the first one that's telling us off for talking on or distracting. And when me and Nicola get together, that's just the world's worst, because we just never show up. So, like Sharon shaking her head there. I think for me, it's probably the interaction. I mean, truthfully speaking, Stephen, I actually work a lot better from home because I don't distract anybody, and I'm less distracted, so I do actually work better. However, I do really miss the team. Total cliche, but we do actually have a really good team of valued. You know, we get on really well. We do have good times together. Morning coffees, you know, like me, Sharon and Eloise and them, normally the first ones in, collecting the water, doing the coffees and stuff, having a good chin wag before we start. Just really normal stuff. I found really hard. Just, yeah, other than that, working from home, like I say, is the norm for me. So I'm quite used to that. It's just the social side of it. So I think having the morning meetings, the 9 o'clock meetings and the 4:30 meetings, even though I'm hating getting out of bed and having to put clothes on in the morning to drag to a meeting, I do love the social side of it, being able to see everybody's faces and have a bit of banter and stuff. I think the hardest thing is when I know my friends, or well, I call them friends because they're friends more than colleagues, but my friends are having a tough time not being able to give them a hug. I think I found that really hard the last couple of weeks because, yeah, love them to bits. Couldn't say anything more, really. That's been the hardest thing for me, I think.
Bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sharon, what about yourself? What have you found the most difficult part, and how have you overcome it?
I'm the same as Danille. Just missing being with people. Sort of being on my own. It doesn't bother me being on my own and working at home on my own, but I do miss not having someone just beside us. Just if you have something you're not sure of, you can just quickly ask them the question. Where you're thinking, oh, I'll drop Michael an email, or I'll drop Stephen an email, or I'll give them a ring. Where when we're in the office, that's not a problem. You just say to the person, "Have you any idea on this?" And you get an answer. I think I'm just missing like having people around us more than anything. It's not something you can really like get over. It's just you have to get used to the fact that you're all working from home and you're on your own and people aren't there. But I just no, that's all. Really.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And Jonny, what about yourself?
I think it was the first few weeks. I found difficult just getting used to just a whole new normal. But I think socially, the working from home is fine. I can get on with what I normally do, but it is the social side of just being able to talk to somebody who like sat next to you or across from you, and not being able to have that connection on a daily basis. So when we started doing these twice daily meetings, I found it a real big revelation, and it helped me quite a lot just to come back out of my shell, and starting to meet everybody in Valued was quite a new concept, and it was really quite fun to do, and it's something I actually do look forward to seeing, like on a morning and on a night, of just having a bit new connection with people.
Oh, that's lovely. So if I'm sitting here with the cheesy smile on my face, I do apologise. Well, actually, I don't, because I genuinely don't know what the guys are going to say to some of these things. So I'm kind of blown away to hear it firsthand. So thank you very much. But I guess one of the other thing as well, and one of the things I've really struggled with, is actually juggling the commitments. I mentioned on last week's live here that Kate, my wife, is doing an amazing job looking after Lucy, looking after Jessica, our two children, 3 and 6. Right now they're outside. It's a nice sunny day. I want to go outside. I really want to see them. I want to spend some time with them. But actually, I've got work to do. Yeah, and I've got my bit of work that I need to do, whether that's 9 till 5 or whatever time frames that we are doing. But I guess when we come out of lockdown, if we come out of lockdown, or when, yeah, and obviously the rules have been relaxed and everything this week to a certain degree. But the question I'm going to have is around how flexible can we work? How can we juggle our commitments? And I know that originally I toyed with the idea of flexi time within Valued and thought, well, how do we actually bring flexi time in to the team? And we kind of did, but we did it on an ad hoc basis to say, right, if I don't know, someone's got a school show like pantomime or something like that, take the time off, make the time up. We brought in life moments to try and work around that flexible time, a flexible way of working. But I think one of the interesting things for us in terms of the business is going to be actually, do we continue to have an office up at Concert? We will, just before clients say that, hang on a minute, when we're going to drop your stuff off. But do we actually say to the team, you must go to the office every day, or do we have a more of a flexible work and approach there. I guess the question I would have is, starting with yourself, Danille, if that's all right. As a parent, how have you found the experience of working at home and fitting the challenges in terms of the home life, the school and the work, and making sure that you've actually got time with the family?
I think in a normal, what is normal at the minute, but in a normal situation, I think it would be great. Because now I've found the routine this week, it's been fab. I've been able to do my work. My child's been next door. I've been able to take the time out and help out with the schoolwork and stuff, which I haven't done for like weeks. Felt like a really crap parent, to be honest. But yeah, I think it would be nice to have a little bit more work-home balance. And I suppose if I'm working more from home, I get more done. But I like to be able to have her there a bit more and spend a bit more time. Not just the child, actually, my dog, because my dog now like literally lives under my feet every day. So I'm surprised you can't hear her snoring because she's ridiculous. But it is nice to be able to have the best of both in some degrees. But then, like I said before, I do like my valued team to be able to spend a bit of time with and get away from the child when I need to get away from the child. So I don't know. I guess you can't win, can you, really?
Yeah, fantastic. And I guess, Michael, just I know I wasn't going to come to you on this question, but just obviously as a new father, you touched on the point there where normally you would be 35 minutes away. I know what it was like when Kate had Lucy and Jessica. All I wanted to do was be at home. So I guess you'll find it a bit of a benefit as well, being, yes, you are at work, but you're upstairs as opposed to 35 minutes away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's other factors in life as well when working from home really does have a place. And to be honest, I think I've always had a barrier against it of how would I work at home? So when I walk into the office, it's kind of a mood switch, isn't it? You think, right, I'm here, I'm switched on, let's do it. When you leave the office, you think, right, okay, you sort of wind down. And I didn't know how that would work at home. And actually, apart from like when the guys were touching there on boundaries, I'm rubbish with boundaries. But I think if I could get that right with being able to switch off at the end of the day, then I think it's really useful, especially with the little one and, at them times when, like childcare issues, if the bairn was poorly and we couldn't get anyone to look after them, me being able to work from home and being able to do a full day but sort of segmented, from home would be really useful. But yeah, I'm with everyone else when I say that on a whole, I would like to be in the office. I'd like to be with everyone else. And like Sharon was saying, asking questions, that's one thing I found really tough setting away. Valued, you've got to make that actual conscious effort to ring or email, or we use Workplace and, one of those methods. But it almost feels like you're intruding slightly, whereas when you just look at someone and ask a question, it doesn't feel as permanent, I guess.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I guess probably moving on to the last part that the blog talked about, which is about looking after yourself physically, mentally, and also emotionally. And Danille, you touched on the physical side there about going to the gym. Jonny, you did as well about your training. The mental side of it, I've really struggled with at times. The emotional side, I've really struggled with at times, and I've been open and honest. And each of you've four guys and Darren, as of all and the rest of the value team have come to me individually and said, "Are you all right?" Just checking in on you as well. And that part is beautiful when clients approach you and says, "Everything all right? How are you?" That just it makes a real difference to us, I guess. But we're not used to working from home. It is tough actually adapting to this new way of working. I guess we don't know when we're going to be able to open the office again officially, because Boris has obviously turned around the latest announcement and said if you can work from home, continue to work from home. So as business owner, I made the announcement that, right, as far as I'm concerned, the office is shut until the end of May. We'll then revisit it again when we're in the next period and see what he says about the second stage in terms of the relaxation of the rules there. But what would be maybe if we can start with Michael, what would be the tip that you would share for sustaining your physical, your emotional, your mental well-being while you are working at home, what advice would you have?
I think from an emotional point of view, that's probably the one mentally I've probably struggled with the most. And for that, I would literally say yes, routine is key. If you can try and keep some, but also kind of endorse the fact that some non-routine is good. So my routine's changed, but I've still got a routine. So yes, like Jonny said, I start work earlier, but I kind of did that anyway. I think it's just more apparent now I'm working from home. So I've sort of tweaked my routine, and then of course with the social aspect, I think it's making use of the technology we have. We keep hearing this COVID-19 being referenced against the war and things like that, and whatever argument you've got there. But the difference there and the difference now is we have the use of Skype, we have the use of Zoom and that sort of thing. We can still see each other and talk to each other, and I think for me, you've got to make use of them sort of tools. I spend probably half a day every weekend with my dad. And I've done that for years and years and years, and I haven't seen him for 10 weeks now. He hasn't been to meet my son and that sort of thing, and for me that's been tough. But at the same time, I speak to him probably 3 times a week now on WhatsApp, and if you add them hours up that we chat away, it probably equates to the same. He's just not physically there. So yeah, just try and find positive tools, I think, is the main thing.
Fantastic, thank you. Danille, coming on to yourself, what would be your advice about sustaining your mental, your physical, your emotional well-being?
Probably pretty much the same. Find a routine that works, and if that means tweaking your 9 to 5 hours to suit you, sorry, Stephen, but if that's what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done. I mean, I think Stephen knows me well enough that I am quite a hard-working person. So even though I'm not technically doing my 9 to 5 job, my hours are still getting done, and my work days probably longer than my actual contracted hours, to be fair. But that's my choice more than anything else, because I get a little bit stressy if I haven't finished everything at the end of the day. And stop pretending that tomorrow it's going to change or next week's going to change. Like, find a routine now that is going to work, and might even work when we get out of this, to try and make it better. But definitely, like, making time for your exercise, because that's like definitely key. That 100% for me is the key, is my exercise, making sure I do that. Making sure that I have time with my daughter, because by not having time with my daughter, that mentally has messed me, thinking that I'm doing a bad job, and I'm not really, because she's at an age where she's quite self-sufficient anyway. But I need to make that time. And just, yeah, like Michael said, making use of what we've got, checking in on friends, because if they're not communicating, the chances are they might be having a tough time as well. And I know from certain friends of mine that if they're quiet, generally that's because they're having a tough time, so I need to be checking in on them. We do need to talk to each other, and I think sometimes we're forgetting that the phone's there, or we've got Zoom, or we've got WhatsApp. And the other great thing, which I've been doing loads of this week, is using Zoom to do a workout with my friends, because my motivation for my gym and missing out on my gym buddies has been like really bad. So doing even just a WhatsApp workout with them, or a Zoom workout where I can actually see them and spur each other on at the same time, has been a massive help this week. That is, I don't think they know how much that actually helps me mentally this week. But yeah, communicate and time for yourself more than anything. I think it's probably my 2 big things.
I totally agree, Danille. I totally agree. Sharon, what about yourself? What would you say? What would your want to be?
A bit like Danille, keep in touch with your friends and family. I have a Zoom meeting with my dad a couple of times a week. Now, before this, I would never have thought my dad would ever use Zoom. He's 78-year-old, and it's like, actually getting him onto there was just like a triumph in itself. So like being able to talk to him has been great. Keeping in touch with the rest of the family. I've got family who live in Cornwall anyway, so we've WhatsApped them for years. But just keeping in touch, making sure everybody's all right, because my two stepsons who live in Cornwall, they both work in the NHS business, so they're both on the front line. So it's just making sure they're okay, the family's okay. Keeping in touch with my daughter, who only lives 2 miles away, but I can't see her because she's around the same house. So I think it's just making sure that you keep in touch with people, because they keep your spirits up as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going back to that social side again, isn't it? That social interaction. Yeah. I think just to touch on that, a very good friend of mine, Malcolm, given the announcements, we went for our socially distanced walk last night, and he turned around and he went, oh, God, you live in a beautiful area. I live in Chelsea Street. If you were very lucky, if you walk 5 minutes away from my house, you're up into the fells, and it's just beautiful woodlands. And we went up there and we were talking. He went, "You up here every day?" And I went, "Last time I was up here was Sunday. The last time before that was the Sunday before." And he went, "I'd be up here every day." And it's that I did it because I wanted that interaction with Malcolm, because I'd missed him. I hadn't seen him for such a long time. But also, I felt a lot better because I had actually got off my backside. I had gone for a walk, and I had actually took the time for myself, for my family, to get ourselves out there. Jonny, what would your advice be?
Same sort of communication with people. I know I'm making a lot more time to actively ring and stay in communication with a lot of my friends and family, which I don't think I've done for quite a few years. But I think the other thing would be that when it's possible to get out of the house, I am getting out of the house. Me and my wife Ange, we'll go out for walks on an evening, or we'll be out in the garden pottering on for a few hours on a weekend, or even some nights when it's been getting quite nice. But it's just sort of making sure we've got that time together, and we're using it to a full degree of just getting the most out of this time we have together, which we can.
I think it's the important part, isn't it? Because Danille and I were talking about this earlier on today, is what will Lucy, what will Jessica actually remember out of all of this? What will, when we're all a bit older, what memories will we have coming out of COVID-19 and the coronavirus situation? Darren, you're sitting very quiet today. I'd be keen to know if you've got any advice, any tips that you would share as well. No. So Darren's actually he's on mute. So yeah.
I'm just handling the tech today. That's fine.
The mic's not working. Your actual Skype's on mute, mate. If that helps, yeah. I think that is the new word, isn't it? Yeah, that's the new buzzword. You are on mute. Darren wasn't expecting me to come to him there as well. But I don't know whether have we had any questions, any comments coming through. Nope, that's all cool. That's all cool. Are you off there, Darren? I think you might have just.
No, I'm off mute. If you can hear me,
Yep.
Yeah, no. So lots of people are just kind of giving us thumbs up. Great comment from Jason come through just to say a quick thank you to all the hard work that everyone's been doing. Very much appreciated. So thank you very much for that, Jason. The team will be thrilled with that one. I think.
Darren, can I stop you very, very quickly there? Is that Jason Knight?
It is, yes.
Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jason. Happy birthday to you. There you go, mate. Happy birthday. It's Jason's birthday. Sorry, Darren. Go on.
No, you just actually stole my thunder, because I was just going to say I think it would be nice if we could all sing happy birthday, but you've just done it. So thank you very much. No, I think the thing for me is, what are other people finding? For those that are watching, what are you doing? What's it been like for your physical, mental, and emotional health? What are the tips that you found? What's worked for you? What's been different for you? Share those experiences with us, and we'll give you a shout out on here as well. Is what we're saying? Does it resonate? Does it resonate with you as a person? Jason's just saying thanks, guys, for the happy birthday song as well. You're very welcome there, Jason. By the way, but yeah. So does it resonate? What have been the challenges for you? What's been keeping you strong throughout this? Danille and Jonny and Michael have mentioned about, and yourself, about exercise. Does that has that helped other people? How are people trying to fit in exercise routines and regimes? Michael mentioned about the time that he spends with his father and not having that physical ability to meet physically. How have people been dealing with that? It'd be interesting to get some comments on that coming through. So please do keep them posted.
I think the other thing. Sorry,
no, go on.
Like the other thing as well is like some businesses are obviously having to not just work from home but find other ways of coping with, if they've got retail, for example. And like I know my parents have their own business, but they're having to find other ways to be able to provide a service, whether that be slightly different from the norm, different products or whatever, just to try and find a way to cope with that as well. So I think it's not just like a way of coping with home, it's trying to find a whole way of a new business,
way of doing things,
a new way of doing things. Adapt is like the biggest thing out of all of this, whether it be at home or at work.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, what are people's new views of what norm will be for them as well going forward? We've spoke about what it could potentially mean for us in terms of offices and people working. What does this mean for those that are watching and listening? Are they already thinking about that? Have they seen anything new? Are they having new ideas and a fresh perspective and a fresh set of eyes? I think that's really important. So yeah, I'd be keen to get some comments back on that.
I think the other thing that I would love to know as well, this is totally unscripted, so the value team don't know I'm going to ask this, is what would your view be? Do you want to be able to work at home exclusively? Do you want to work in the office exclusively? Or do you want that flexibility to do both ongoing? So if Boris was to suddenly say, right guys, everyone be in the office tomorrow, what would you like us to do as a business? Does anybody want to come back on that and share their views?
Yeah, I think flexibility is good, but I think, on the back of everything that everyone said, I think having that place of work is important. I think that's what, without sounding too cliche, kind of unifies everyone, so that when everyone's in that room, we're all there to do that job. We're all part of the valued team, and I think that's where, like Danille says, how you get to know each other. Jonny touched on that as well with it. When we have the team meetings, we look forward to them. You need that in a room, and I think you need that at times. If you're struggling with something at home, it would be great to just, there's 8 people in the office. I'll just pick the laptop up and I'm going to go to work and I'm going to sit down with people. I think that's important from my perspective anyway. But then having the flexibility of, I want to work from home today for whatever reason, then that too is, useful in its own right.
So you'd be a bit of both, yeah? You'd be a bit of both. Anybody else?
I'd be the same as Michael. I think the flexibility of having the office there to go and work in, but also being able to work from home should times come up where you need to be at home for any reason.
Fantastic. You're nodding your head there. Jonny, what about yourself?
Yeah, exactly the same sort of feeling. It's sort of the flexibility would be great to have with it. I think it's just going to be a big change trying to fit the new normal in whatever that'll look like in the future.
Jonny's just looking forward to working with me and Nicola full time. That's why he wants to work in the office really. He hasn't experienced what a great payroll team we are yet. That's top and bottom, isn't it, Jonny?
That's probably it, yes.
That's why you don't work in the office with us.
What about you, Danille? Would you?
Yeah, I think I would. I like the idea of half and half, to be honest. More so because I get more done at home, and like I say, because I love this. I love the value team. That sounds really corny, actually, but we do have a good team, and I sit next to Sharon on a daily basis. Eileen opposite, so I like my little team. I have to say that because she's watching. But generally, no, we do have a team, and I do like being in the atmosphere. You know, when we've had nights out, we've had great. We've had some really good laughs as well. You know, we generally do get on outside of work as well as work. Yeah, we rub each other up now and again, like any team would. But I think I would miss that if it was permanent. I don't know whether I would cope not being around everybody permanently. So I think I would at least have to have half and half. I just like the idea of having my dog underneath us every day as well. She warms my feet very well when she's not snoring.
One of the things for me is it is when we get to that new norm and we do get that little bit of breathing space, and as you mentioned, as you alluded to, Danille, it is starting to calm down a little bit now in terms of all of the new experiences that we had to go through in terms of the furlough, in terms of the business bounce back loans, in terms of everything else there. But when we do get to the new norm, we should get a little bit more time. And I think if I can come to you, Darren, just as a final question, I guess, is just to you live an hour away from the office, something like that. So you commute an hour up to work, an hour back. You do that 5 times a week. What would your view be in terms of working from home ongoing?
I think hopefully you can hear me on this as well. I think it's an interesting question. I think you're right. There are times when, you know, whether you want to call it a tribe, you know, whether we're part of a squad, a team, whatever, we have to have that interaction. I think for some of us in the team, we've worked we've worked remotely previously, either for other companies or other positions that we've been in. So it hasn't been so much of a transition for some of us as others. I think the team's coped really well with that transition in a very, very short space of time. I think going forward, you're right. I think this has actually caused us to think about and evaluate what we want to do. For me, I think I can be absolutely, without question, more productive and use that time that I used to commute more effectively. Either for myself, you know, I'm not spending an hour. That's an hour I can spend more time with the family. It's an hour I can be exercising more. It's an hour I can be working. So for me, absolutely, that can work. I do think it's important that we have regular check-ins. So for me, whether that's a mix of, you know, reducing that down to a number of days in the office, or whether that's actually being permanently based from home, and just coming together for important stuff, that we'll see. But certainly my view is that I can be as equally productive at home as I am being in the office, but you do miss that interaction, and that's the key thing for us. But again, I think it's a challenge. I think a lot of us also have the cost of premises and office space. I was seeing an article on the news the other week of a firm that is very similar in size to us, but they've now completely made the decision to have everyone working from home and use tools effectively to do that. So that's saved them a lot of money. They can still have that conversation. But I think the other thing for us as well is it's not just us, it's our customers. Our customers are starting to use technology more. They've had to for their businesses. So I think there's an element of, you know, are we seeing a rise? I'm certainly seeing a rise in customers accepting the use of technology more, whether that's circumstance. I think before we probably saw customers saying, well, actually, it wouldn't work if we had video conference, but now we're seeing they can see the benefit of that. So there's less of a reason not to do it, if that makes sense. So it's interesting for me around that. But I think personally, I'd probably work more from home during the week and then just come in for more serious kind of meetings and team meetings, to be honest.
Fantastic. I think, was there any other questions, any other comments that have come through there, Darren?
No, so just thanks you very much. Lots of kind of thumbs up. I think, you know, it's an interesting topic that we've covered off in the blog. Please go and read it. It's on value.co.uk/blog. Have a look at that. If you're watching this on replay, add your comments in. Martin Sheehan's commented, thanks, really enjoyed the call. Thanks to everyone. So you're very welcome. Pleased you enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments, you know, what your plans are, how you found working from home with your clients as well. But if there's nothing really coming through on other questions outside of replay, I think we've probably come to a natural end. But can I just say, on behalf of Value, thanks to the whole team for joining us this morning. It's great to have some fresh faces on that. So yeah, thanks very much.
Appreciate your time, everyone. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll catch you on next week's live.
Very welcome. See you later.
Thanks now. Bye.
Bye.